Hafiz Isa Production proudly present
when you grab a map for like a public festival or a really large scale event, there's this baseline expectation that it's going to be intuitive.
Right.
Like you anticipate a very binary, straightforward document. The entrance is here, the main stage is over there, the food is in the corner, and the restrooms are just sort of scattered in between.
Mm-hmm.
You look at it for 10 seconds, you build your little mental model, and you simply start walking.
Yeah, well, it is a very comforting illusion, isn't it?
Right.
We are entirely conditioned to want our spatial awareness to be instantly digestible. Mostly because, we just don't want to spend our precious leisure time solving a massive logistical puzzle.
Exactly.
We just want the experience that the event promises.
But then you encounter the official event map and show guide for MAHA 2026, and that entire expectation of simplicity just shatters within seconds.
Oh, completely.
Because we are looking at a navigational landscape today for our deep dive that is frankly staggering. It is less like a festival guide and honestly much more like a topographical survey of a mid-sized, highly complex municipality.
Calling it a municipality is incredibly accurate.
Oh.
I mean, this is the very definition of a sprawling, multi-layered ecosystem.
Yeah.
And treating this document as just a piece of paper with some colorful icons on it is a massive mistake.
Yeah.
What we are looking at here is a strategic playbook. Massive agricultural shows of this exact scale. They are engineered with very specific, highly calculated crowd flow logic.
Oh, wow. So it's all intentional.
Absolutely. If you understand the why behind this layout, you hold the ultimate shortcut. It is literally the key to maximizing your experience, preserving your physical energy, and completely avoiding the sensory and physical overload that plagues most attendees at events of this sheer magnitude.
Okay, let's unpack this, because our mission today is entirely about survival and efficiency for you, the listener. If you are heading into the Malaysia Agriculture, Horticulture, and Agro-Tourism Show, MAHA 2026, you simply cannot afford to be a confused wanderer baking in the tropical sun.
No, you really can't.
But looking at this sprawling four-district blueprint for the very first time, the sheer volume of information is just paralyzing. I mean, we've got tram lines intersecting, massive lakes, really dense agricultural plots, and huge commercial hubs.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. It begs the question, if the map itself is this dense, how is a human being supposed to successfully breach the perimeter without immediately feeling, overwhelmed?
Well, you breach the perimeter exactly where the urban planners of this temporary city have designed you to, and that is through the primary arrival node.
The arrival nodes, right.
Yeah, if we look at the mechanics of crowd psychology, the first 20 minutes of a visitor's experience will inevitably dictate their cognitive load for the entire rest of the day.
That makes sense.
Right. If you are stressed and disoriented at minute 10, you will be totally exhausted by hour 2. That is why mastering your entry points is the very first tactical advantage you can give yourself. On this specific map, these critical zones are explicitly labeled as La Mantiba.
La Mantiba, meaning the arrival square or arrival hub.
Exactly.
Tracing the edges of the map here, there are two massive gateways acting as the anchors for the entire event. Over on the eastern flank, in District 1, we have La Mantiba 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then, spanning all the way to the western edge, over in District 4, is La Mantiba 2.
They do serve as the anchors, yes, but, and this is crucial, they are absolutely not created equal in terms of infrastructure.
Okay, how so?
Well, La Mantiba 1 operates as the primary high-density central hub.
Mm-hmm.
If you analyze the logistics laid out in the guide, this specific area is engineered to handle an immense volume of vehicular churn.
It's like dropping people off.
Right. It features designated drop-off and pickup points that are tightly managed to just keep cars moving. It is essentially designed to prevent the kind of vehicular thrombosis that usually paralyzes mega events.
Vehicular thrombosis, that is a great way to put it.
Yeah, it just clogs everything up otherwise.
But I'm looking closely at the cluster of icons surrounding La Mantiba 1, and there is just a solid wall of infrastructure right at the front door.
Yep.
We're talking information counters, So the Contour and Formasai dedicated OKU services for disabled attendees, multiple sick bays, and this really massive concentration of ATMs specifically localized right around these indoor halls like Dewan A, C, D, and DG.
Exactly.
Why pack all of those critical services right at the bottleneck of the entrance? Like, isn't that just asking for a crowd crush?
It seems counterintuitive, but it is a concept called front-loading, and it is a direct countermeasure against decision fatigue.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, the planners know that human attention is a finite resource. They want you financially secured, physically oriented, and medically reassured before you take a single step into the agricultural deep end, so to speak.
I see.
Because think about it, if you suddenly realize you need cash 3 miles deep into a cornfield, the friction of returning to an ATM completely ruins the experience. So they capture you when your cognitive load is at its absolute lowest, right when you step out of the car.
I see the logic, I really do. But I have to challenge that approach from the perspective of a first-time visitor.
Okay, go for it.
If I get dropped off at Lamentiba 1, and there are potentially tens of thousands of people milling around the information booths and the ATMs and the drop-off zones, my primal instinct is flight.
Naturally.
I want to escape that congestion immediately. So if I see the first tram pulling up, why shouldn't I just jump on it to get away from the entrance crowd and, start exploring?
Because yielding to that exact flight response is how you end up completely disoriented. Yes. You need to view Lamentiba 1 not as a bottleneck, but as an airlock.
An airlock.
Exactly. You don't rush through an airlock, you take your time. Look specifically at the routing of Tram Route A on the map.
Okay, tracing the orange dashed line for Tram Route A. Wait, it actually doesn't go deep into the exhibition at all. It just sort of loops backwards.
Precisely. Tram Route A specifically circles through the external parking infrastructure.
Oh, wow.
It runs from Lamentiba 1 out to Park Year 1J, Park Year 1E, and Park Year 1C. This means Lamentiba 1 is in a constant heavy state of churn. It acts as the bridge between the outside world and the internal showgrounds.
So it's not the sightseeing track?
Not at all. If you just start walking blindly or you hop on a random transit line to escape the crowd, you're committing to the depths of the exhibition without a macro strategy.
Right.
You use this hub to gather your group, secure your cash, and finalize your route.
It is the final staging ground before you cross the point of no return. All right, so let's say we've successfully navigated the airlock. The next critical failure point for any attendee at a sprawling event is energy depletion.
Oh, absolutely.
Specifically hunger. Because I'm looking at District 1, and positioned amidst all these massive indoor halls is a zone labeled Food Empire.
It is a bold name, but it serves a very vital logistical function.
So imagine I've just survived a long drive ride, I've navigated the arrival hub, and I am actively hungry. My sole mission is to get a meal before I look at a single piece of heavy machinery or agricultural innovation.
The classic hangry visitor scenario.
Exactly. Now, the map highlights a direct transit line, Tram Route B, which is the dark blue line that runs straight from the Lamentiba 1 square directly to Food Empire. But here is my concern with that. If Tram Route B is the obvious, express route to the largest food hub, isn't that just going to create a massive boarding line? Wouldn't it be way more efficient for me to just weave through District 1 on foot and get there myself?
It might seem that way, but you have to really consider the environment you would be weaving through. Tram Route B operates as a pressure release valve for the entire event.
Okay.
Because if you decide to walk from Lamentiba 1 to Food Empire, look at the geography you actually have to traverse.
Well, you are walking directly through the densest cluster of infrastructure on the whole map.
Yes.
You've got the Pavilion Nujiri, so all the state pavilions, and this huge, massive block of indoor halls, Dewan A, B, C, and D.
Exactly. And those Dewans, they house the agribusiness zones, the Kingdom of Agri-Food, and the sponsorship village.
Wow, okay.
District 1 is the commercial powerhouse of MAHA 2026. It is highly commercialized, it is entirely climate controlled, and it is packed with high-ticket transactions.
Right, people doing business.
Yes. So if you try to power walk through that zone while hungry, you are going to be fighting against crowds that are moving very slowly, stopping at booths, networking, and conducting business. You will just get bogged down in all that commercial friction.
So Tram Route B essentially acts as a bypass. It takes the hangriest, most fatigued visitors and basically siphons them completely around the dense business district, dropping them right at the culinary center without disrupting the commercial flow.
It is a brilliantly efficient separation of intent by the planners.
It really is.
They recognize that commercial transactions require comfort, convenience, and a slow pace. So they put the ATMs and the climate-controlled business halls right at the entrance for the professionals, and they provide a high-speed bypass for those who just need calories right now.
That reframes District 1 entirely for me. It's for commerce, calories, and climate control.
Spot on.
But that logic only really holds up if you are an adult managing your own schedule.
Yes.
What happens when we introduce the ultimate unpredictability factor? I'm talking about a listener who is walking through these gates holding the hands of two highly energetic, easily distracted young children.
A completely different ballgame.
Right. The heavy commercial zones of District 1 aren't going to hold their attention at all, and the deep agricultural fields might just be too intense or boring for them.
Well, navigating with children requires an entirely different tactical overlay, and the designers of this event have anticipated that friction perfectly with the creation of District 3.
Okay, I was actually just looking at District 3. Smack in the middle of this massive agricultural ecosystem is a bright, highly visible logo for Didi and Friends, which anchors the Kiddies' Wonderland.
Now, look at the geographical placement of District 3 in relation to the rest of the map.
Okay.
It functions as a spatial buffer. To the north, you have the massive, sprawling agricultural fields of District 2.
Right.
To the west, you have the heavy livestock and smart farming zones of District 4. District 3 is perfectly nestled right in the center, totally shielded from the heaviest foot traffic and the most intense industrial exhibits.
It's essentially a protected recreational oasis.
Exactly.
And here's the friction point I see for parents in that oasis. If you deploy your kids into the Kiddies' Wonderland, you are effectively trapped there while they burn off energy. But right next to the Didi and Friends zone, the map shows the Astana Pavilion and a space specifically called Santai Dan Kopi at Chillax.
Yes, it does.
Are you telling me they deliberately dropped a designated coffee and relaxation zone right up against the perimeter of the highest decibel, most chaotic area of the event?
They absolutely did.
Oh.
And it is an absolute masterclass in extending dwell time.
Wow.
The planners know that families do not leave mega events because the children are bored.
Oh.
They leave because the parents are exhausted.
So true.
By placing a chillax coffee zone immediately adjacent to the high-energy children's area, they're creating this thermal mass of parental relief. You don't have to drag your children away from their entertainment just to get a brief moment to sit down and have a coffee.
I love that concept, extending dwell time by actively managing parental fatigue. But coffee and seating only solve half the problem.
What's the other half?
Well, if you park your family in District 3 for 2 hours, what happens when someone suddenly needs a restroom or a place to pray? Are you forced to pack everyone up and embark on a massive trek all the way back to the commercial hub of District 1?
Not at all. If you look closely at the localized infrastructure within District 3, the map clearly denotes essential amenities directly integrated right into the zone itself.
Oh, let me check.
The tandas, the restrooms, and the surah, the prayer rooms, are positioned right there.
Okay, yeah, I see them. So it operates as a fully self-sustaining microcommunity. You don't have to break orbit from the kids zone just to fulfill basic human needs.
Precisely. The tactical advice for families listening is this. The moment you arrive in District 3, establish your base camp at the chillax zone, physically locate the nearest tandas and surau, and you can comfortably operate within that micro-community for a significant portion of the day without any of the stress of macro navigation.
Okay, speaking of macro navigation, we have to talk about the real reason this event exists.
Let's do it.
We've managed the arrival, we've secured the food, and we've stabilized the kids, but eventually you have to venture out into the elements.
Yes, the deep dive into the agriculture.
Let's look at the sheer intimidating scale of the outdoor zones in Districts 2 and 4.
The scale is immense, and it really represents a significant physical challenge for attendees, particularly in a tropical climate. District 2 encompasses the massive Tasik MAEPS, which is the central lake of the Malaysia Agro Exposition Park Serdang.
Right, the big blue spot right in the middle.
Yeah, and surrounding that lake, you have incredibly diverse and expansive agricultural plots.
Just reading the labels here, the variety is wild. You have the Laman Padi, which are the traditional rice paddies. Then there is floriculture for the flowers, Laman Jagung and Bawang for corn and onions, the Laman Herba, the Laman Sayur for vegetables. And wait, what exactly is Laman Kalut? If I am a visitor, what am I actually walking into there?
Laman Kiludu is actually the dedicated zone for stingless bees.
Stingless bees, oh wow.
Yeah, they are a major component of regional agriculture and honey production. And you are so correct to point out the variety here, because each of these zones requires time and physical walking to actually experience properly.
Right. You can't just sprint through it.
Exactly. You can't just glance at a rice paddy from a distance and get the point. The value is in the micro-exploration, getting up close.
And that is just District 2.
I know.
If we pan over to District 4 on the western side of the map, that is where we find Le Menmor, so the livestock and animal exhibitions, along with Les Bananas for the pineapples, and this highly technical smart farming zone.
Yes.
If I am standing in the vegetable gardens of Le Mansayer over in District 2, and I suddenly decide I want to go see the livestock in District 4, looking at this map, I feel like I would need a rescue helicopter halfway through that trek.
Which brings us to the most critical navigational mechanism of the entire map: the interlocking transit networks designed specifically to save human legs.
Okay, the tram routes.
Yes. We've already discussed routes A and B, which manage the entrance and the food bypass. But tram routes C, D, and E are the absolute lifeblood of the macro zones.
Let's trace how these actually function in practice, because this looks complicated. I'm looking at the green dash line, Route C. It originates near the commercial hub of District 1 at Pavilion Najiri. It cuts straight through an area called Lamon Agro-Food Fisheries, then takes this massive sweep north, carving right through the vegetable and herb gardens of La Sire and Herba before terminating up at La Agronova.
Correct. That's a huge sweep. Now contrast that with the yellow line, Route D.
Okay, Route D starts all the way on the western edge in District 4 at the Smart Farming Zone.
Yep.
It moves past the pineapples at Lemananas, and then it hooks back. Wait a second. Looking really closely at the intersection here, Route D hooks back into the exact same physical location that Route C cuts through.
Oh!
The Lemon Agro-Food Fisheries.
You've just identified the logistical manifold of the entire event. The planners have explicitly designed the Lehman Agro-Food Fisheries to act as a massive interchange hub.
Here's where it gets really interesting. It's essentially the connecting airport for the agricultural zones.
It is the mechanical solution to the problem of distance. And to complete the circuit, you have the red line, Route E.
Oh, right, Route E.
This is the Grand Connector, the main artery. It cuts a direct, straight path entirely across the map, linking Dedaran Lamantiba 1 on the far east to Lamantiba 2 on the far west.
So synthesizing all of these transit lines, what is the actual practical strategy for how a listener should move their physical body through this space?
You must rigidly separate your movement into micro and macro navigation. The fatal flaw most attendees make is trying to walk the macro distances.
Trying to walk between districts.
Exactly. If you want to engage with the exhibits, you use your feet for micro exploration within a specific district.
So the strategy is to take a leisurely, deliberate walk around the perimeter of Tasik MAEPS, or spend time really weaving through the specific rows of the Lamon Padi in District 2.
Yes.
You commit to walking that specific geographic pocket.
Yes. But the moment you decide to transition your focus, say you have finished observing the stingless bees in District 2, and you now want to examine the smart farming tech way over in District 4, you must immediately stop walking.
Stop walking entirely.
Stop walking. You treat that transition as a commute. You board Route C, you ride it down to the Agro-Food Fisheries interchange, you transfer to Route D, and you let the machinery do the work of crossing the map.
That makes so much sense.
You have to preserve your physical energy for the micro-exploration at your actual destination.
That fundamentally changes how you interact with the event space.
Yeah.
It is not just one giant park that you aimlessly wander through until you inevitably collapse. It is a highly connected grid that you have to actively manipulate.
Exactly.
Okay, let me pull all of these threads together and summarize the ultimate navigational cheat code for you, the listener, so you can confidently conquer MAHA 2026.
Let's hear it.
Rule number 1. Treat Lamantiva 1 or 2 as your airlock. Do not give in to the flight response. Use these hubs to get oriented, secure your cash from the ATMs, and finalize your route before plunging into the show.
Very important.
Rule number 2. When the inevitable energy crash hits, do not try to weave through the heavy commercial halls of District 1. Utilize Tram Route B as your pressure release valve for a direct express ride straight to Food Empire.
Save yourself the frustration.
Right. Rule number 3. If you are navigating this massive ecosystem with children, District 3 is your tactical sanctuary. Exploit that brilliantly placed chillax zone right next to the kiddies' wonderland and rely on the localized restrooms and prayer rooms to keep your micro-community self-sustained.
Masterful.
And finally, rule number 4. Protect your legs at all costs. walk within the districts to explore the exhibits, but forcefully rely on the internal tram routes, specifically utilizing the agro-food fisheries as your central interchange to make those massive, exhausting jumps between the deep agricultural zones of District 2 and 4.
That is a highly tactical, perfect synthesis of the map's underlying logic.
Thank you.
But before we conclude our deep dive today, I want to pivot from the logistics to the actual philosophy of the event.
Oh, interesting.
I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over, and it connects directly to the overarching theme printed right there on the guide.
Okay, the theme is clearly stated on the front. Pensiptin nilai demi kitterjamanen makanan, value creation for food security.
Yes. When you take a step back and look at the staggering scale of this map, from the ancient traditional roots of the lemon paddy rice fields to the highly technical innovations in the smart farming zone, all the way to the massive climate-controlled commercial agribusiness halls in District 1, where the actual financial supply chains are forged.
Yeah, it covers everything.
Right, you realize something quite profound. Next time you sit down at your dinner table and look at a simple plate of food, consider the map we just decoded today.
Oh, wow.
Consider the massive, deeply interconnected city of heavy industries, complex logistics, cutting-edge technology, and meticulous spatial planning required to produce those calories.
It is entirely invisible to us in our daily lives, but it is staggering when laid out in front of you like this.
Exactly. The incredibly complex layout of MAHA 2026 is not merely a blueprint for a temporary event. It is a perfect physical mirror of the vast, intricate network required to feed a modern nation. Every agricultural zone, every commercial hall, and every intersecting tram road represents a vital link in a very real, very fragile chain.
That is a powerful way to look at it. So when you step out of your vehicle at Lamantiba and you look out over that sprawling blueprint of a temporary city, remember, you are not just navigating a trade show or a weekend festival. You are walking through the physical architecture of our food survival. And now, thanks to this deep dive, you know exactly how to read the blueprint.
Hafiz Isa Production!